right, coming to you from the lounge. We're going to talk about, I did an hour video on this already, but we're going to do a really short one on the same concept because I think it's important for you to understand, and not all of you are going to necessarily make it through the entire hour of the other one. So this is this is about sexual action threshold, okay? So first, subscribe, okay? Subscribe right now. Hit the button. Hit the notification bell. In the comments, I don't always mention it, I have a email list. You can opt in. There's no spam. There's things I cannot talk about on YouTube because of censors that are critical for you to understand in dealing with relationships, dating, and banging, okay? Whether you're a guy or a girl, it's good stuff. And there's things I cannot say here. So you want that information, opt into my list. And probably a couple times a month I'm going to put something out, all right, and you'll enjoy it, all right. So sexual action threshold, all right. So what is that? So we're talking about it's important for you to understand why women make sexual decisions. As a man, you need to understand this. For my female listeners, you need to understand it too, because your instinctual brain will. You're not always understanding why you make decisions, all right? And guys, this is how it works. I mean, sometimes women will be attracted to someone or they'll sleep with somebody and they don't actually know why they did that, you know? Or they're kind of coming up with reasons later. It's really the chimpanzee brain, as I call it, or the hindbrain that's in the driver's seat making those decisions, and then the logical brain has to try to figure it out later. So it's important for everybody to understand this. And now for guys, here's the deal for men, all right? What you want, your ultimate thing that you want, that your chimpanzee brain wants, is genuine desire from a female. That is what you are after. Otherwise, you wouldn't care about this video, and you would just go buy hookers whenever you felt like it. Okay, but there's a reason why you're not just doing that and you actually want to date and bang women without paying for it, and, you know, potentially develop relationships, whatever. And it's not just because of kids and family, right? I mean, it's about a lot of other things. And one of the things that you want is the thing that you're striving for all the time is genuine desire. So you need to understand why she makes sexual decisions, why she made decisions in the past, and why she's making decisions with you, and that process and where it comes from. If you don't understand it, then you're going to question her desire for you, and that is not necessarily productive or good. You shouldn't have to question that desire. You should know that you are genuinely desired by your woman, and if you're not, then she is not your woman. Okay, that's how that works. So we have desire, all right? So desire is, obviously, we're talking about not just attraction, like attractive qualities, like he's got a good job and he's nice and he would be a good provider, you know, not that stuff. He's funny, okay? We're talking about arousal, all right? We have her desire, which is what makes her moist. Like that word? Terrible word, isn't it? What makes her get the tingles? You get what I mean? And so let's look at that as 0 to 10. All right, 10 is, you know, she's orgasming right there, and 0 is hi. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go make the food. We'll be back.
Okay, come back. She brings me things. It's very nice. So 10 is maximum desire. 0 is no desire, okay? She could even be negative, right? Like if she's grossed out by you, maybe she's a -3, all right? But that's her desire level, okay? But there's another scale we need to look at, which is her sexual action threshold, all right? So just because she has a certain level of desire, that doesn't mean that she is going to allow for or make a sexual action, or basically have sex with you, okay? Sexual action threshold is the point of her desire where she would basically say yes and open up her legs, you know what I'm saying? Where she goes from, I'm not going to have sex, to, okay, I'm going to have sex with this person. All right, and so that other scale is different than the desire scale. So it's not always desire. And so the example I used in my hour-long video, I used a series of examples because it really does, and you should go through that video because I use a bunch of examples and show you how this applies, all right? But here's a quick best example, you know, which would be like, let's say that she's at home in her normal environment, you know, and she's got her friends who are going to judge her, and she's concerned about, you know, she's concerned about her social standing. She doesn't want to look like a slut, all this stuff. And so she has a rule. She's going to make a guy wait 3 dates, for example. That's pretty typical. A woman, when she just starts dating somebody, she's going to make you wait 3 dates, or that's what she thinks in her head that she's going to do. And so her sexual action threshold might be at like a 7, all right? Meaning that she would have to get her arousal up to a 7, keeping in mind 10 is like orgasming, all right, in order for her to say, okay, screw it, we're having sex, you know? So in date number 1, her sexual action threshold might be an 8 because she is like, I am not having sex on the first date, this guy's not going to respect me, blah, 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 okay? And then maybe on date number 3, she really likes you and things went really well, her sexual action threshold might be a 4, where she's like, it's date 3, I'm ready to sleep with this guy. So in other words, you could get her aroused on date 1 to a level, you know, 6.5, but if you don't exceed 7 on the arousal scale, she's not sleeping with you. But let's say you are super alpha and you do all the right things, you've coached with me, you know how to handle women, okay? You game her really well and you just know how to handle her, communicate with her well, and you get and you know, set the logistics up right, and everything's in place, and you get her past the 7 arousal on date number 1. So even though she has a 3-date rule, her action threshold was around a 7, so it's not such a hard fast rule, is it? And you got her past 7 in you know, in arousal, she ends up sleeping with you and breaking her own rule. See, this is how they break rules for alpha, right? Is because an alpha gets them aroused past where their threshold is. When they say, no, I'm not going to do that, and they set their action threshold a little bit high, an alpha blasts right past it, all right? So a guy who's maybe a little less alpha or a little less good at gaming women, maybe he only gets her to like a 5 or 6, which is great, and she likes him, she had a great time, but she's just not going to sleep with him. You see what I'm saying? But then she gets to date 3, her action threshold is dropped now to, let's say, a 4 or 5, because she's okay in her brain with sleeping with a guy after 3 dates. That's what she's cool with. So what happens, you know? He gets her to a 6, you know, and she says yes. You see how that works? And so this is really important to understand, because what if she was going through her hoe phase? So let's say she was 21 years old and 22, she's being a hoe. Okay, so she's sleeping with people, whatever. And so maybe her action threshold, if she's at a party or in the right circumstances, certain, you know, periods of the month, her action threshold might only be like a 3 or 4, and she's sleeping with guys who barely get her aroused, maybe not even having orgasms with them. But then, like, later, when she's 28, 29, she's reached that, you know, what we call Epiphany Phase, and she's, you know, she's doesn't want to make the same bad decisions of her past, and she's evaluating herself. Or just maybe she's at, you know, she's just not in that hoe phase anymore. And so now she meets you, you're the most attractive guy she's ever met, but she's not sleeping with you within an hour of knowing you, like she would have when she was maybe doing a little bit of drugs and kind of, you know, loosened up during a hoe phase at that party that she was at, you know. So she slept with some guy at a party who was a terrible lay and only got her aroused to a number 4. But she did some drugs, got tipsy, her threshold was at a 3. She slept with them and that was it, you know. But then with you, she doesn't sleep with you on the first date, you know. She has the 3-date rule, but maybe she breaks the rule on the second date, sleeps with you. You could be the best dude for her. You could be the person that, you know, gets her arousal to higher than it's ever been in her entire life throughout the course of your dating and relationships. But because of her action threshold, she didn't make that sexual decision earlier. We're talking about sexual decisions.
Oh, jeez.
That's right.
I make bad sexual decisions.
You make bad sexual decisions? You're going to make a bad sexual decision in a few minutes. Shh, don't tell this video. I'll have to charge more money for it than if I do that. Anyway, so that's the video. Get on my email list. And until next time.